Welcome back to GBGuns. We just got back from the range with the Diamondback DB9 Gen 4 that features the slide lock and a few other major improvements. Interesting experience, and before I get too much into it, I gotta say this holster from Crossbreed, when you take a super slim gun like this and put it in a dual clip holster from Crossbreed, it disappears. We've got some photos of Maddie AR rocking this in leggings without a belt. Of course, not practical for carry, but just to show how well it disappears under just a couple layers. That stuff's amazing. You can see those over on Maddie AR's Instagram and on our Facebook page. Let's get to talking about this gun. So while I get this thing cleaned up, I'm gonna roll in the footage of our shooting impressions. Took it to the range for, of course, full mag +1. What's for dinner, which the Gen 4 can take, because it can take loads heavier than 115, unlike the earlier models. We ran it all the way up to 150 grain. And then some shots for accuracy, as well as our thoughts. Let's get to it.
Starting things off with full mag +1.
What's for dinner today starts at 90 grain and goes up to 150 grain. As you can see, each of these rounds has a different bullet profile. We've got the round nose, the snubbies, FMJs, hollow points, truncated, aluminum, steel case, nickel plated. Let's see how the gun runs. Starting off light for caliber with Winchester's super clean 90 grain. Snubby little guy. See how it performs. Violent in this gun. Heavy duty 100 grain. This is a frangible, rather long projectile with a snub nose, using our original DB9 magazine for target number 2. For target number 3, Fiocchi's 100 grain fragile. Advertised velocity of 1,300 feet per second. Probably not out of a barrel this short, but it's likely going to be spicy. Woo! Plenty accurate though. Remington HTP 115 grain. We're now up to standard bullet weight and a hollow point. Defensive round, defensive gun. See how the combination goes for target number 4. SIG 365 full metal jacket, 115 grain. This stuff is specifically developed for short barrel guns like the 365 and the DB9. Target number 5.
I'm going to start off with Blazer aluminum 115 grain. happy. Wolf, lacquered steel, 115 grain. So something that's particularly special about the Gen 4 DB9 is that it can actually accept bullet grains of higher than 115. So next we're going to be trying a 147 grain. Pretty excited about it. We're going to see how it goes. So this is a Browning, by the way. Browning 147 grain. Yeah, performance leader. S&B 150 grain. This is the HST Micro. So this was actually made for guns like this. It's 150 grains. We're gonna see what happens.
It's a personnel function.
So for my grouping, I decided to go with the Nosler 115 grain. I think I had good accuracy with that, so we're going to see if it rings true. I'm going to go for the left target.
All right, 5 shots from 7 yards with Nosler's 115 grain match hollow point ammunition on the right square.
So for comparative reasons, this is the original one, and I have never fired it before. So we just thought really quick, why not shoot it? So I'm going to put 5 rounds into the top 10 target and see how it compares. So now, after firing the predecessor of the DB9 that we were just shooting, lots of differences and a lot of upgrades. For me, I think personally, the sights on this guy are very small, and they have a purpose for that, but it was hard to find, for me at least, really hard to get those on target quickly, at least. Trigger pull on this is very light. You have to make sure that you don't have your finger anywhere near that trigger until you are absolutely sure that you want to be pulling it. The second shot that I had was a little quicker than I intended. It's definitely still a snappy gun. That's that hasn't changed, but when you're looking at a size like this, it's gonna be snappy. Comparatively, obviously, sights on this one, love them now. They're much bigger, they're much brighter, they're really easy to see, really easy to get on target. They might be a little bit more prone to snagging, but I don't think it would be a big enough issue for you to actually make that a negative aspect if you were considering purchasing this gun. Because what it really boils down to is this is very, very small, very, very slender, sleek. You can put this all sorts of concealed carry options, especially for women, and especially for women who like to exercise, want to have something on them when they're jogging, but not have something bulky that is going to be highly visible or bouncing around or be in ways that you don't need. Trigger on this one is definitely better. You have a pull to it as opposed to just a light little prickling on there. The gun isn't intended to be a range gun for extended periods. You're not going to be out here rallying through hundreds of rounds. Its primary focus is concealed carry, and for that purpose, I'd have to say it's spot on.
So the DB9 Gen 4 is certainly an improvement over the earlier generations. You got usable sights, you've got a slide lock, better texturing, it handles loads above 115 grain. That said, of course, it is very snappy, rather violent. My hand is a little too big for it. I ended up with some racing stripes from the slide, no matter how I held. It's also the first time I've ever found myself using the support hand with the finger on the trigger guard. That made it a little more manageable, but honestly, since I can only get 2 fingers on the grip itself, it was difficult to hold on to. What this is intended for as a pocket gun in 9mm, excellent. I would say it beats out a lot of other guns in concealability, and obviously now we know that it's capable above 115 grains. You've got great sights, Glock formatted sights that you can swap out with night sights, things like that. Not very pleasant on the range, but that's not what it's meant for.
So overall, gotta say, yes, it is a snappy little booger, but that's what you've got to expect when you've got a gun this small, chambered in 9mm. Diamondback sort of set the standard / whoops, didn't get that guide rod in there right. Diamondback set the pace for just how small a 9mm could be in function with the DB9. Of course, some sacrifices had to be made as far as features, etc. For the originals, they've made this one, the Gen 4, vastly improved, and it shoots really well. I gotta say, however, it is snappy. It can be a bit unpleasant, but this is meant to be a pocket gun that happens to be chambered 9mm, not a range gun. So as long as you keep that in mind and shoot it to make sure it runs the ammo you like and get proficient with it, which really wasn't that hard. As you saw, we shot great groups with this little guy. So tiny barrel and all, didn't really matter. The gun runs. Good job, Diamondback.